Welcome to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast, the show that offers you tips and strategies to help speakers build the business of their dreams. Now here's your host, 30-year industry veteran and business coach, Jane Atkinson.
Hey, welcome everyone to the Wealthy Speaker Show. Today we are going to be talking about how to be more innovative in your speaking business, in your keynotes, in your marketing, in your social media. And we have the amazing Shawn Kanungo to help us out. Shawn, did I say your last name correctly?
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Thank you. That was my big hurdle I was worrying about. So thank you. I'm glad I got it right. Tell everybody kind of about your current speaking business model. What are you doing on the day-to-day today?
Well, number one, I just want to say, I am super humbled and honored to be on this pod. If you've gotten this far, by the way, rate, review, subscribe wherever you are, Spotify, Apple Music, Apple, YouTube, whatever you got to do, because I think what you're doing with this community and what you've been doing for decades in this space is incredible. And I'm just humbled and honored to be here, just being a longtime listener and avid listener. So I just want to say that just off the get. So you're doing an amazing job.
And
Thank
you.
So a little bit of background on me. I speak on this topic of innovation disruption. This is actually the first time ever that I think I'm actually talking about speaking, the business of speaking. And I was actually a little bit nervous coming on today because I think that I approach this business in a fundamentally different way. I think many of the things that I'm going to say is going to be completely counterintuitive. I don't know how much value people are going to get from this, because I don't know if people can replicate this playbook, because I think I might be giving terrible advice for folks. But I would say, today I'm doing probably about 70 to 80 keynotes a year in Canada, US. I also don't think of this as a speaking business. I think of this as an impact business. I don't think I'm in the speaking business at all. And I'll talk a little bit about what that means to be in the impact business. But to me, I love content. So whether it's through the keynotes, whether it's taping the keynotes, putting out content, whether it's putting out a special on Apple TV or Prime, whether it's putting out a book, whether it's exploring all these ways of putting out content and making an impact, that's what I'm really passionate about. So I'm happy to get into it.
Oh, we are going to break it down. And now you've got me really intrigued. Like, oh, what's he going to say? And I want you to know that after 30 years, the one thing I have figured it out is that there is no one way to do this business. And you clearly come at it from a different. So let's circle back. Talk about what your background was. I know you had a long relationship of employment with Deloitte.
Yes.
And I wanted to share with you something funny. My first job out of college in Halifax, they weren't even called Deloitte yet. They were called Touche Ross and Company. Remember, it was Deloitte.
Yeah, of course.
Well, this was even before that. So
wow.
I was the receptionist at Touche Ross and Company. Biggest switchboard I had ever been a part of. And it was an actual real eye-opener. I always loved jobs like that because I got to see the inside view of, I would see all these students coming through and how hard you had to work to get that gig. So tell us about your time at Deloitte and what you did there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is a crazy story. So obviously, you have you have a long history with them as well. But I spent 12 years at Deloitte. I started on the accounting side for the first 2 years, and the last 10 years I actually switched into management consulting, really in the strategy, digital innovation world. I'm working with some of the biggest companies when it comes to digital transformation and innovation. And actually, the way that I got into speaking was, clients want to hear about the work that we were doing in the digital and innovation technology space. How were you doing this? And, at the time, this idea of digital and mobile was huge. And I actually, took the mantle. And so clients want to hear what we're doing. They're like, hey, we got this conference, we got this workshop. Can you do it? And to be honest with you, I'm like, yeah, I would want to share the work because we were doing such cool work. And also, I thought that was a great brand building exercise, not only for me, but for the firm. And, we started to get leads and clients so that way. And, I did, 100 presentations for free, just carrying the gospel of digital innovation, and I just sort of fell upon this crazy keynote speaking business that I had no intention of getting into, but it's been an amazing ride and an incredible journey after that.
Oh, that is so cool. And I'm thinking you had to be a real baby at that point of your career. And but if it comes to digital transformation, I kind of want to see what you're going to tell me. So talk about age a little bit when you were young and upcoming, you're young still now. So talk a little bit about how age was either helpful or not for you when you were just starting out.
Yeah, no, well, I appreciate it. Well, I'm glad that you think I'm young now. I have three
Oh.
kids, and aging exponentially, I think. But
Zero
I
gray
think
hair for those of you who are listening only.
I think, being in consulting for like 12 years ages you exponentially. And I think, 12 years in consulting, it's like 100 years of, being at work, because not only are you meeting with hundreds of different organizations and leaders and executives, it's like compounding. It's you see so much at, so quickly. And I think, obviously, when I started in consulting, when I was 26 years old, I 25, 26, it was absolutely an eye opener working with, some of the best companies, and just, being in the fire hose of working, in the depths of these incredible organizations. It was great. It was hard. You got punched in the face every single day, but it hardened you. And so, when I was 30, I think I left the firm when I was 34, 35. I feel like I was like a vet at that point. I was going, for partnership. I was close to becoming a partner at Deloitte, and that's not actually out of the realm of, I would be a younger partner at that time, but 34, 35 would be a young partner at that time. But that's sort of the timeline. Being 12 years in a firm, usually become partner at that time.
So did everybody in your world say, are you crazy to leave? Like, what did you go off to do? What was your next thing?
Well, to be honest with you, when I was speaking at Deloitte, I was actually, to be honest with you, it was an easy decision to leave, because when I was working at Deloitte, I actually was making more money as a senior man, speaking, than I was being a senior manager at Deloitte. And I was making pretty good money at the time. And I saw my schedule for 2018. I said, this is insane. But to me, it wasn't about the money. To me, it was about the ability to create impact. I saw that by getting on stages, I saw that being at conferences, that you're actually building brand equity. You're actually opening up opportunities for yourself. And so I said, what kind of damage could I do on my own, whether it's speaking, creating content, being a free agent, advising organizations on my own? Could I get better companies? Could I work with bigger names? Could I work with better executives? That was the thesis that I would do that. And I love Deloitte. I hired so many people from there. I still love them to this day. But when I left, I met with 30 other partners, and I said, listen, I actually think that I could do more damage on my own. And actually all of them said, listen, if I was in your spot, I actually do the same thing. You're right. Like there is something special happening, and I think you need to take this opportunity. And I did, and I ran with it, and it's been the best decision that I've ever made, and still love my time there. And I credit Deloitte a ton, but I had to go off and do my own thing.
Yeah, I love it. And just let me brag on you for a second here. The logos that you see on Shawn's website, Johnson and Johnson, Lincoln, Bosch, Christie's, Dell, Intuit, Morgan Stanley, Pfizer. Like, this is that he is working with the who's who out there. And I think a lot of speakers strive. Okay. So you got started in 2018. And here we are, 2023, and you're going gangbusters, 70 to 80 speaking engagements per year. You have done that by being more innovative, clearly, than others.
You said that, so yeah.
Let's talk about, in your actual keynote, how are you coming at keynotes in a way that you think is unique and innovative?
Yeah. First of all, I want to give blessings to the people that actually came before me, in this business, the people that actually built this into an industry that I had no idea going into. So I want to give kudos to the innovators that actually, got us to this point. I think that the way that I approach this, I actually don't speak with that many speakers. I don't take that much advice from other speakers. I get influence from comedians, from rock stars, from athletes, from people that are performing at high levels. So to me, it's garnering inspiration from those folks. I think I innovated in a number of different ways. Number one is that I'm equally as excited as giving the talk on stage that I am recording it. So and putting out that content out in the world. I think I have more videos on me on stage speaking in front of audiences than any other human on the planet, other than maybe Gary Vee. That's actually, having recorded video, putting it on YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, wherever it might be. And to me, it's about impact at the end of the day. It's actually being able to tell this message in front of, 600, 700 people, but taking that particular video and having that be seen by another 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million people. To me, that's about scaling impact at the end of the day. So I think the video piece, and I can double down and double click on that, on how I do that and give the economics around that.
I do want to go deep on that. So there's an intention that you are going to record everything.
100%.
Okay. So it starts with that. So tell me how does that happen? And then tell me, what do you do? How do you throw it into your system? And then the minions of the system go and put it out there? Or how does it work?
Yeah. So the reason why I do this, by the way, and I always had this notion, like even in my first speeches, I recorded it because I said, I'm making this for these 100 people. Like the world should see this. So I always had this notion. And even at the beginning, when I didn't make any money, when I was doing presentations for free, I would still get a videographer to come out for like $300, $400, $500 that I would pay, that I probably didn't have the money for, that I'll be like, okay, but this is content. This is IP that I can put out in the world. And what's funny is that as your keynote fee rises, you get, you go from, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 25,000 to 30, actually the cost of the video never changes. So my move, whenever I'm in a particular city, I literally go on Instagram and I say, I copy and paste the same message to 10 different videographers. I find them by saying, San Diego videographer. I message 10 of them and say, hey, my name is Shawn Kanungo. I'm looking for a presentation. This is a style that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a lav mic, 2 or 3 cameras. Here's the time. Here's the location. Here's, what I want. I want just the production. I don't want any edits because I want to transfer the footage right after, because I have editors internally that will edit. So I message that same message to 10 people, and maybe 3-4 people get back to me. I go to the price that I like. It usually ranges from anywhere from, $200 to maybe even $1,000. And I will just, pick amongst any of that. To me, it's, picking the best person within that particular range. And then I will get it recorded. I will get the shots. And this happens in every single city, whether I'm Barcelona, whether I'm in Dubai, whether I'm in, Michigan, wherever I am, I get a videographer to record it and I get the assets, and then we chop it up. And my editors, they know, I literally give them a piece. I want this piece out. It's a 2-minute clip. And, we put it up on LinkedIn as a square. We put it on YouTube. We might cut it up on TikTok. And recently we've been putting stuff on Instagram and just, putting that out there in the world, because you have no idea if that content is going to change someone's life. You have no idea. So you might as well put it out in the world and see.
So when you're choosing your content, you're drilling it down to, I'm saying something that's very interesting right now, or is it more like, well, I'm telling a really good story here, or is it a combination of those things?
Yeah, it's to me, it's what I love doing is newsjacking. So what I love doing is taking something that's happening in the world today and being able to put that on, because that's what people are looking for. Or it's a great story, or it's a great concept. It's content. It's not about me speaking like, hey, I'm here in Barcelona. Like nobody cares about that. That's selfish. What you have to do is give content that actually will change somebody. So for example, I'll give you an example. Like recently, I was in Barcelona a couple of weeks ago. I put out a piece that wasn't relevant or newsworthy, but it was the idea that strategy is energy. So I put this piece out. It's a 2-minute piece around how strategy is energy, and then I shared that. And what's cool is that one of the executives said, hey, that piece really resonated with me. We're having a strategic, a session with our CEO and our entire team. I sent that to them. And that, to me, that's impact. They weren't there in Barcelona, but to me, that this executive of this big oil and gas company was able to send that. To me, that's impact. I want to do that. I want to trade that every single day. And that's why I put those pieces out. And the best pieces are the pieces that, leverage something that's happening right now, because that's what people are talking about. And, those catch fire. And so, yeah, I'm really deliberate in my keynotes to say, okay, these are the 2 or 3 pieces that I think we want to clip out. And the Q&A is a great clip out piece, because number one, you're not burning any content. Number two, it's like people like to see that spontaneity. It's kind of like comedy crowd work clips. The reason why they're so popular on TikTok and other places is because it's spontaneous. It's like you have no idea what that person's going to say. And it actually shows your ability to think on your feet. And I think it's a great piece. I think more people should showcase I think what the mistake that a lot of speakers make is that they want to put out video content, but it's them like them on a couch talking, in front of a mic. Like at that point, you're competing against like a YouTuber. It's very difficult to compete against a YouTuber because they're native for that particular platform. But for you to be on stage, for you to be in front of people, that's going to signal to the audience that, that person's on stage. That's actually an important piece.
I love it. And I love this idea of every event being filmed. Let's talk about newsjacking for a second. Where are you ripping your stories from, the headlines? Is it the Wall Street Journal, or is it TMZ, or something in between? Like where are you picking up things that you can then enter into your speech? I love the idea of something I saw this morning in the journal is now in my speech, and now it's on social media.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
that is so cool.
Yeah. And I think for me, like I'm speaking on the topic of innovation and disruption. So I need to be cutting edge. I need to be current. I'm not somebody that climbed a mountain. I'm not somebody that, swam with sharks. I'm just somebody that has been in this digital innovation disruption space, and it's changing every single second. So for me, being on the ground floor, not only talking to executives and leaders, which I'm doing all the time, which is really important, getting firsthand information, but being just being a student and just being curious, whether it's getting information from everywhere, YouTube, Twitter, podcasts, Wall Street Journal, CNN. Like I read sports, culture, entertainment, media, finance, politics, science, economics. Like I want to just be curious around the world, because, understanding disruption is actually understanding disruptive trends. It's not just about technology. It's about culture. It's about society. And so I want to be somebody that can connect these things that are happening in the world to their lives. And that's just who I am. I just love being connected.
That's very cool. Okay. Marketing. When it comes to marketing, okay, so let's make sure we're clear that you have bureaus who are representing you exclusively, both stateside and in Canada. What about globally? You're doing a lot of work internationally. How do you handle that? Is that going through Canada Speaker Spotlight, or?
Yeah. So, I joined Speaker Spotlight in 2017. Probably one of the greatest decisions that I've ever made. I love that team. I will take a bullet for anybody on the Speaker Spotlight team. Everybody there has been phenomenal. Every single lead that comes in, to me, goes to Speaker Spotlight. I don't take anything for myself. Everything goes back to Speaker Spotlight. And I work with them so anything that comes in internationally, in the US, in Canada, goes back to Speaker Spotlight. And that's a relationship I have. I also have a relationship with that actually Kepler and Speaker Spotlight actually work together. They got an amazing relationship that goes beyond just like co-brokering. We've been able to fuse something with them. And so Kepler's been an amazing partner on the US side, and they are killing it right now. So but Speaker Spotlight is still involved in that, and it's been great. So yeah, anything internationally comes through. And to be honest with you, a lot of leads come through YouTube. A lot of leads come through
Generating.
you seeing my stuff online, and
Yeah.
that's how a lot of the international stuff comes about.
Okay, so what I'm getting at is this innovative idea that you've done about regarding video is then translating to keeping your funnel full enough that 300 leads are coming in a year and you're securing 70 to 80 of them. That is amazing. I'm not saying 300, I just threw that number out. I'm thinking, more leads. You're not
Yeah,
getting every single engagement and you don't want
of
every
course.
single engagement. So that's where I just got those numbers. I just pulled them up. Love Kepler. When I used to work running an exclusives division for a
Yeah,
speakers bureau and they wanted to book like Sugar Ray Leonard or one of my exclusives, they never called with a hold. They only called with, okay, I have a gig. Like I have an actual piece of business for you. Put this date on hold. And it just always came through. And I just really value that scenario with the speakers bureau when
yeah,
they're that good that they're not calling to place a hold. They're actually just calling to check the date for a piece of business. Beautiful.
100%,
Yeah.
100%, and they've been incredible, and I give kudos to Martin, and the Speaker Spotlight team because
I
without
adore.
their trust, this game is about trust at the end of the day. I don't have a written agreement with Speaker Spotlight. It's just love and trust, and it goes back to the relationship. Yeah, and actually the other piece I would say about marketing is that if you can go on any spot on the internet, you will not find a video that is shot low quality, that's shot on an iPhone, that looks grainy, that looks bad. Like I want when somebody looks at my me and anywhere, I mean, even on this pod, if you're on YouTube, like it's done with effort, it's done with love, it's done
Yes.
with so to me, like, and even during virtual, when went virtual, every single keynote that we ever shot, hundreds of keynotes, still to this day, 2023 going into 2024, every single keynote has been done in a theater with a full production crew. I've never done a keynote in front of like a background, or in my room. Like it's highly produced. I believe so strongly about that, because when you put in love to whether it's virtual or in person, it translates into the value and the message just seeing at a higher level at the end of the day.
Well, that has paid off because Forbes named you best virtual keynote speaker. I mean, that's a thing. That is so. I just want everybody to notice. I almost want to retitle this being intentional about everything that you do in speaking, because you in your I think a lot of people got set up at the beginning of COVID for a virtual, but you made the decision, no, I'm not going to get set up and do a space. I am going to hire professionals every single time I
Yeah.
do virtual. Okay, so you're in Edmonton is your hometown, is that right?
I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
So you have a production house probably nearby. Edmonton's not a little city, everybody, by the way. You probably have a good production house that you can go to locally then, do you?
Yeah, so I got this team that I've been working with, and obviously I have folks, internally, but I've been working with a team. They're called Bad Films. They're a film. They're not like a AV company. They're like a film company, and so I've been working with them, even before the pandemic. And when the pandemic hit, we said, how do we innovate this? And so we went into a theater right away, like April 2020. We were shooting in a theater, and we just evolved from there. We started to experiment and just raise the production level every single time. Just keep on experimenting, and we were doing that.
Let me know, like a theater. So
750 person amphitheater.
an amphitheater, big screen behind you.
Yeah.
How are you connecting with the humans at the other end? Is there like big faces, like a sea of Brady Bunch looks behind you? Give me a more of a visual of this theater. This is so cool.
Yeah, to be honest with you, because the camera's moving around, like I think the innovation there was the gimbal, which is the camera is moving with me, like as I move on the stage. So I'm looking dead in the camera as I move around through the stage. And to me, the magic of virtual is actually engaging them, is asking them questions, which is something that I don't really do in an in-person engagement, which is stopping every 5 minutes, asking them, getting the engagement, having a moderator. So what we would have when we have a virtual keynote, we have a moderator on stage with us. Like, let's say I'm like Jimmy Fallon and they're the Roots. They would be the moderator, sometimes from the organization, sometimes a friend, and they'd be looking at the chat. And so it was like I would say it felt like a talk show every single time, a live talk show that people are part of. And I really felt that really raised the just the fun. It raised the spontaneity, and it raised the production level. And so you can check it out if you go to my YouTube page. You can scroll down. Obviously, you'll see a lot of in-person keynotes now, because over the last 2 years, I mean, everything is like, ramped back to in-person. But if you go back a couple of years, you'll see all the virtual keynotes and what it looked like and what it felt like.
So cool. Do you do anything special for the background of like if you're in a theater, do you stage a set? Like what is there an actual sofa? I'm kind of curious about all of this.
Sometimes we will. Sometimes what we'll do is because when everything is virtual, we would plop into different situations. We would FaceTime like CEOs. We would FaceTime folks. We would just go into different sets. Some of them pre-recorded. Some like in one of the theaters that we were shooting in. It was actually in an art gallery. So we would go to the art gallery. We would walk around the art gallery. So just trying to make it dynamic. Ordering pizza, like we do, like we're trying to show that it's live and show that it's really engaged. The other thing I would say is that I think what differentiates, from an innovation perspective, is that graphics, like if you go to my website, if you go to any of these videos or my reel, you'll see these massive like horizontal slides, and every single slide that I have is a motion graphic. It's like 70 motion graphics. When I have a slide deck, it's like a 3 gigabyte file. It's 70 motion graphics. Every time we're at a keynote and it's a different screen size, that's actually in my rider. If there's a different screen size, we try to customize all the graphics so they can connect with the AV crew. Some clients are spending $500,000 on their AV screens. Gotcha. And then these speakers come in with their 16:9 like PowerPoints. It looks like crap. But what we try to do is make sure that it takes up the whole screen. We want to make it feel like a rock concert. So it's been really, really cool over the last number of years to work with these amazing companies and really maximize their screen size. And it's funny because if you take that extra time to really make it pop like that, I swear to God, it makes the world of a difference. Like people recognize when you take that time and it looks like a rock concert. It's just different. So that's something that we're really, really focused on and passionate about.
There's a lot of listeners right now who are just writing down up my game. Really, I'm serious, Shawn. This is very inspiring for people, I think, to just hear how you come at this. And I almost like that you didn't study other speakers to get here, because guess what? You're not like any of them. And guess what? That's why you're so popular.
Well, and I want to be fair, because I think, what you've been doing in your business is giving folks, platforms like this, so you can have innovators. I think everybody, and you've seen this, 30 years in the game, is that everybody has approached this in different ways. And I am trying to approach this in different ways. And the reason why I try not to, garner ideas from other speakers is because I know that it's a very, it's an amazing community and they garner ideas from each other. I want to garner ideas from people that are outside. That's the whole idea of innovation. That's what disruption is all about. And it's not that I don't get value from other speakers. It's just that I want to be different. I want to approach this differently. And I actually think that what we do, my really hot take is what we do as keynote speakers needs to be elevated. I feel like, back in the day, the philosophers are the folks that used to sell out stadiums and arenas. And now that those folks are just keynote speakers. And now the comedians and the rock stars, they're selling out the arenas. But I believe that There are so many incredible minds and thinkers that we can turn this profession into something bigger. And that is my goal at the end of the day. How do I continue to innovate? And that's why we put out the streaming special on Apple TV and Prime. We're trying to elevate the game, just past like going to a conference and becoming the opening keynote speaker that, I think there's such an opportunity here.
Tell everybody the name of the special on Prime and Apple TV.
Yeah, the special is actually, it's the same name as my book. It's called The Bold Ones. And part of the reason why we launched the special, it was our first foray into media and entertainment. And, there's other people that have sort of done this. I'd say Brene Brown is the other person that she's got a Netflix special. To be honest with you, we tried to pitch this for Netflix, and at the time it wasn't what they were looking for. And so Prime and Apple TV were amazing partners and in putting it out there. And we want to, we want to continue to get into this media and entertainment space and, continue to innovate and figure out what we can do there. I think it's a great space.
I love it. And it's only a matter of time. I feel like I'm going to see you at the Sphere in Las Vegas or something. It's only a matter of time before the rock star speaker takes over the concert venue. And
I love that you said that, because that has become a new bucket list, which is being able to be in the Sphere and showcase our motion graphics on that, in that space. I actually reached out to them a number of months ago, just as a moonshot, to be like, hey, we're doing a virtual keynote. Can we do it in the Sphere? And absolutely got no response back. But, here's hoping, Jane. Here's hoping.
Well, you know what? They have a slot at 3 a.m. probably that you could just go in and do your
That's
thing.
right.
So I'm sure you can work that out. I am super excited for you, Shawn, and all of your success. People are going to want to connect with you, and they're going to have some questions, no doubt. What's the best form of connection with you?
Well, number one, if you've gotten this far in this podcast, like I said, rate, review, subscribe to this podcast, because Jane is putting in the effort and the work. And so follow her first. Follow what she's doing first, and then if you have any time left over, then you can just hit me up. I'm at Shawn Kanungo anywhere. My DMs are open, so I respond to anybody. I respect this game so much, and the folks that are doing things differently, and I respond to every single speaker, because I think we need more ideas in the world, and so please hit me up.
Thank you. What's your favorite social media platform?
I think my favorite has been LinkedIn. I've been posting on there for, probably every week for the last 7 years, and I love that. I love TikTok as well, but LinkedIn is probably the best.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I just want to say thank you. Sarah McVannell hooked us up, and I want to say thank you, Sarah, for enlightening me to this man who I believe is gonna just take this industry and turn it on its ear. And is there anything, Shawn, that you would like to say, that if you were back in 2018, young Shawn, first starting out in his speaking business, is there any advice that you would give yourself now? We're only 5 years later, but what do you think is the biggest lesson that you got that you would like to share with your young self?
I think it's nothing different than I think today. I think you need to keep experimenting, keep innovating. I see so many speakers, they rely on that one speech that they've been writing for so long. I think if we have to keep experimenting, we have to keep building new stories, new ways of presenting our content, new ways of putting out our slides, just new ways of doing things. We need to continuously innovating. That's what I would say at the beginning. And everybody is looking for the fuel. They're looking for how do I do this? To me, I go back to video. And to be honest with you, Jen, I give 99% of the people the playbook of this idea of video, but they don't see the value. They're like, well, I'm spending $300-400 for this video, but what am I going to get in return? You don't understand. you don't understand the ROI on this video. Somebody might see this video. You might not get a gig in person, but somebody might see that video and you might get another gig. And that cost of video never changes, but your fee always changes. So just see the value in it. It may not pay off the second or third time, but over time, people will see the library. Listen, if somebody is going and buying a car, they're literally the cost of a speaker is the cost of a car. Do you think that they're just looking at your reel? Forget the reel. The reel is nice, but you need to. If someone is buying a car, they're going to look at all the videos. They're going to look at all the social media. So you need to be able to invest in yourself outside of the reels. Stop getting so romantic about the reel. It's about building a library at the end of the day. So that's what I would say with that. And I think a lot of people get caught up with the reel. They're like, okay, we pretend like the planner is dumb. The planner is not dumb. The planner is looking at everything. They're not just looking at the reel and making a decision. That's a linear way of looking at it. If you're buying a car, you're looking at the reviews, you're looking at everything. You're looking at the negative reviews, looking at the social media. So that's what I'd say that.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Shawn, for being here. I'm going to follow you on everything, and I'll be in your back pocket there, just watching all of the moves, because you are an innovator indeed. For those of you tuning in, definitely do all the things that he said. Definitely make sure that you check out the wealthyspeakerschool.com and Speaker Launcher. We've got all kinds of value there for you. And with that, we're going to say thanks again for being here, Shawn, and we'll see you soon, Wealthy Speakers. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. If you need help building the speaking business of your dreams, head over to wealthyspeakerschool.com and take advantage of our 20-minute next step call. Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast.